Hi, welcome to the H4RL Career Podcast. I'm Jill.
And I'm Dave.
And today we're going to share with you the best college majors that you can choose. We've been doing this whole series about the best careers and the majors that lead to them, so you can check those out. We talked about which careers make the most money, which ones lead to the best job satisfaction. We talked about, what was the other thing?
The most in demand.
There you go. We talked about that too. And now we're bringing it all together to tell you the 5 best college majors that you can choose. Make sure, if you find this helpful, that you subscribe, that you give us a like, 5 stars, a thumbs up. We know that people are watching these videos. We can see that, but they're not clicking for us. And we really need you to do that because that's how people will find us. That helps the computer say, hey, this is helpful, share it with people. So we really appreciate it. Anytime you can tell the computer that you like our stuff. So please take a moment to do that.
If you found this at all helpful or beneficial, please just take a moment to do that. It really helps us out. So
we really appreciate it. It's a lot of work to put these together. And so when you reward us by liking and subscribing, we sure appreciate it.
Absolutely.
The other thing we want to make sure we talk about before we get into this is when you hear these top 5 majors that we're going to recommend, you might think, hey, that one sounds interesting. I think that's a good one for me.
Yep.
And that's great. That's what we're hoping for. But a huge word of caution for you. Don't just rely on this one video to pick your major and run with it.
No.
There's so much more important stuff you need to do first for your future to make sure you're making a good choice. So you need to look into some things, and we've got a program to help you with that. If you want to just make it really easy,
right,
you can visit us at h4rl.com, and we have a career exploration and planning course in there that will walk you step by step through the whole thing.
Yep.
But whether you use it or not, there are some things you need to think about. You want to tell us what a few of those are?
Well, absolutely. I mean, just because you think a doctor's would be a great job doesn't necessarily mean it fits your strengths and your interests, right? You may actually fit who you really are. It may not fit the type of work balance that you want in life. Even though
work-life balance.
Work-life balance, it may not fit that. Also, your financial goals. Of course, it pays pretty well, but maybe you think becoming a teacher sounds great. But then you also need to understand what your personal financial goals are in life, and will that career really line up with it? There's also lots of different things. Also, your what they call
You're talking about work values?
Work values, exactly. I'm sorry, I just forgot that for a second. There's those, and there's lots of other options that you might actually want to explore. So
and if you don't know what we mean when we say work values, you're not alone. Until we put together our course, I didn't really know either. And it turns out they're huge in whether or not you end up satisfied with your job.
Right. So just because a major sounds interesting, you need to do a little bit more work to really find out if it's really right for you. Because, again, I thought 10 different things sounded really interesting to me when I was going to college. And I eventually found out engineering, which I like. Worked well for me, but I kind of had to down select to figure out really what fit me best.
I had a lot I was considering too.
Jill actually thought about becoming a dentist, and thought that sounded pretty interesting until she realized how much blood was actually involved with being a dentist, and it didn't quite work out well for her at that point. So really, it's more work than just saying, hey, that sounds interesting, and just doing that. Trust me, I've heard lots of people think, oh, that sounds interesting, and just go and do it. End up changing their major several times to figure out something that actually really does fit who they are, their goals in life, and really what they can actually academically willing to do as far as level of effort in college and time. So,
and that gets expensive if you go to college and start taking your courses and then you change, or worse, if you drop out because it wasn't what you wanted, or if you graduate and then go, oh no, I don't want to be in this field. It doesn't work out well financially or just for life in general.
So it's like anything in life. The more effort you put into something, probably the better decision and the better outcome it's going to have. So I know it's really tempting just to say, oh, I want to do that, and just go off and do it. Trust me.
Decision made.
It might be the right choice for you, but it won't hurt you to put a little bit more effort into figuring that out. So,
then you can feel really confident, and you can have a really well-developed plan. Like you know how to make it happen too. So visit us at h4rl.com. There's even a free trial so you can go in and check it out.
Absolutely. So with all that said, let's go on and get into the 5 best majors. All right. So coming in at number 5 is engineering. I knew I made a great choice. So it is number 5 right now. And the great thing about engineering is there's a lot of different fields within engineering you can go into, such as mechanical, electrical, civil engineering, biomedical engineering. There's actually oil engineering, nuclear engineering. There's software engineering, aerospace engineering. There's so many different subsections of engineering. I don't know if you said, I think it said electrical engineering, computer science engineering, by the way.
Lots of choices.
Lots and lots of choices. So you can really find the one that really fits you well. Myself, I went into mechanical engineering because it's actually the broadest of all of them, and that's what I like. I like to learn a little bit of everything and kind of bring it all together. So that fit me well. But I have friends who are electrical engineers, and they really want to focus in on the electrical side of stuff. And guess what? Even within each one of those majors, like electrical engineering, there's even more specific ones like they call RF engineering or power engineering or circuit board design. So lots and lots of options within engineering. So it's great.
Right. That's the amazing thing is you really can't go wrong. Any discipline you pick in engineering is going to lead to a good job. But you have to be careful which one you do pick because they do lead to different jobs. And
Absolutely.
So you need to make sure you pick the one that leads to the job you want.
Now, within those, in our previous ones we talked about, software developer, Java developer, AI engineering, data scientists all fell within that. Even CEOs, a lot of CEOs have engineering backgrounds, by the way. So that's really what kind of pushed this up to number 5. It also pays pretty well. As far as like your degree coming out of school, it pays pretty well as working your way up. You can make even better money. Now, there are different pay levels between the types of engineers you pick. I'll say that. And I will say this much before going into it. You need to be strong in math. You need to be strong in science. You really do. I went through it, and it is a pretty intense major. So you are going to have lots and lots and lots of homework, all right? More than other majors. So,
however, I will say if you're not like loving math, as long as you can do it well
Correct.
enough to get through your courses, they don't always continue to do a lot of math in their careers.
Now, I'll admit, I was good at math. I don't love math, all right? But I'm good at math, so that's the difference there. Engineering in school, like Joe was saying, is an applied mathematics degree, all right? You're doing math in all your courses, all right? And you're going to take quite a bit of math to do it. Yeah. But once you get out, there's some majors that you have to, some jobs you actually have to kind of do more math than others, but a lot of it, you have computer programs nowadays that do a lot of that math for you. So in your actual job, you're not going to be doing a lot of that differential equations, which you'll do all the time in school. But that aside, I just kind of want to put that warning out there for all of you guys. Just make sure you're going to know what you're getting yourself into before you go pick it, because it is a relatively rigorous degree to get.
For sure. But like you said, it's applied math. So the cool thing is your math courses move from all that theoretical stuff to a little more like, here's how you'd actually use this.
Right.
So it can be a little more interesting.
I've heard several people who've gotten other types of degrees, advanced degrees, by the way, that I work with in a company that has a lot of very advanced degrees from a lot of different backgrounds. They actually had some pretty high up people say they really thought mechanical engineering was a great major, by the way, because they feel it's a very much an applied physics degree. And they're right. You do just kind of learn how everything works. Like, I can fix a lot of things around the house, even though I've never actually just fixed it, because I generally just know how machines and things work because of all that science and all that stuff you learn in engineering. You just get a feel for how everything just kind of works, so you can apply it to a lot of different things in your life.
It's a very practical degree.
It really is. Mm-hmm. So,
and the other great thing about engineering, jumping in here again, is just that you can like do a really great career with any engineering degree with just a bachelor's degree.
Absolutely.
You can go on and get a master's like you have.
Yes.
There are good things about that. You can even get a PhD. But just with a bachelor's, you can get a great job.
I would highly recommend going on to get a master's degree anymore, because I think it sets you up a little bit more to get a little bit more pay and allows you to be a little bit more independent and moves that vertical ceiling where you can go a little bit more. But you absolutely don't have to. I know lots of people who do quite well with just a bachelor's degree. And again, you'll get paid good money coming out, because guess what? As an engineer, you're paid to solve problems, and everybody has problems. All right? So that's what an engineer does. You get
They're
paid
always going to need you.
Exactly. You're paid to solve problems.
Good job security.
And so that's why it's good job security. It's in demand, and it pays rather well. So engineering is number 5. Let's move on. Coming in at number 4 is health sciences. In this one, there's a ton of jobs out there that fell within, especially our highest paying jobs, by the way.
Let's clarify for the people who might be listening to us. If you're on YouTube, you can see our slides that have lots of information for you. Mm-hmm. They've got all the different job possibilities, career possibilities, as well as a little more detail such as what we mean by health sciences. You may not major in something called health sciences. You might major in biology, chemistry, biochemistry, molecular biology, physiology, physics, bioengineering, kinesiology. You can see this whole list on YouTube, but if you're just listening to us, I want to clarify that.
Sure. And some of the careers we talked about. Now, please go back and listen to some of our other ones if you haven't, because we'll talk about a lot of other majors, by the way, and a lot of other careers than what we're talking about here.
We also give
salaries and job growth and all that kind of stuff on our other podcasts. So go back and listen to those, but we're just going to give you the highlights here. So you can become a surgeon, dentist, physician, physical therapist, orthodontist, psychiatrist, pediatrician, and anesthesiologist are some of the ones we highlighted in other ones. Great set of majors to get into. You will have good job security. They are in demand, and you will get paid rather well for most of these.
However,
yes,
what should we keep in mind?
A lot of these jobs we just rattled off require additional education. Actually, a significant amount. Most of these are actually getting your doctorate degree to get these, become a dentist, to become a physician, become a surgeon, and then residencies beyond that. So it's actually a decent commitment to make this kind of money.
And it's not that you couldn't get a job with the bachelor's degree, but it may not be that satisfying and it may not pay very well.
It definitely will not pay the same as these other ones. So realize that. This is just the starter major degrees before you're going to go on to get the more advanced degrees. So if these are what you want to do, awesome. Just realize you're in for a lot of schooling and a lot of debt, because most of these degrees you can't actually get someone to pay you to do them. You basically have to take out loans to do them, but you do get paid a lot of money on the back end, so you can usually pay them off relatively well.
People get really afraid of debt, and it's a good thing not to take on debt without being really certain. And that's the thing with these majors. If you are going to take on debt to get there, you better get there and do the job. And then you're fine to pay it off.
Or at least be happy with what you can do without it. So that's another thing you need to take the next step. Again, with our career course, we talk about these type of things. Realize, well, if I don't go on and become a doctor, what can I do with this chemistry or biochemistry degree? You need to talk about that, because that's what you're going to have to settle for. So, settle or not, it's just not becoming a physician or whatever. So, something to keep in mind. All right, let's go on to number 3. Number 3 is finance, economics, business, administration, or management. All right, Jill, what kind of jobs can you get with this?
So checking out our list here, you can be a CEO, human resources manager, medical and health services manager, or even a judge or magistrate.
Absolutely. So it's interesting that, again, most of these require, well, not all of them. A lot of them, like the judge and magistrate for sure, requires additional education, like becoming a lawyer, you get your law degree. Honestly, with the CEO, you probably should go on and get your MBA, Master's of Business Administration, not just your undergrad, all right?
And some of them require experience. Like if you're going to be one of these managers, that's not an entry-level position.
Absolutely, yeah. You got to work your way up to those positions.
But these majors, these majors here are how you get started.
Now, the CEO, by the way, Chief Executive Officer, is the number one person in a company, and they get paid quite well. They were our number one paying, which makes sense, very high-paying job. Which is great. But remember, there's very few people who ever make it to a CEO position. The vast majority don't get anywhere close to that. So,
especially with those companies that are paying a lot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you go to a Fortune 500 company, you're talking about, millions of dollars you'll be making. However, extremely few people get to that level. And honestly, at that point, it does kind of matter what school you go to if you really want to become one of those type of CEOs. So realize there's some luck involved with this approach. It's not like anybody can just jump in and get to that position. There is actually some connections, networking required for you to get to these type of positions. So you need to understand if you like finance in general, or economics, or business administration in general, because you might go into that career and do a lot of different type of stuff, like become like a banker, or investor, or brokerage, or just work in general business type inside of a company, but never make it up to that level. So you want to make sure you're happy with doing that before you have this aspirations of I want to become a CEO, because it does take some level of luck and networking to get to that position.
Skill.
Absolutely, skill.
There's very few people who really are skilled enough. They have all of those soft skills and strengths that are going to match running a big company.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So remember, we're talking about these are the reason why it's number 3 is because it had some of the higher paying jobs out there, and it actually showed up quite a few times in some of the other ones we talked about. So number 3 is in the finance, economics, and business administration world. All right. Number 2 is
top of the list.
Nursing. That's a little bit of a surprise when we started doing this, but nursing is number 2.
It just kept showing up.
Yes.
It was on all the lists, or most of them.
Very good paying job, especially if you get into more like a nurse practitioner or
Which
nurse...
is more schooling.
Which is more schooling, or nurse anesthetist?
Anesthetist. Nurse anesthetist. Also more schooling.
Exactly. So,
but nursing is where you start for all of them. So you go into nursing, you've got a great career to start with. And then if you decide you want to go on, you've got really great possibilities.
Nursing as a baseline is a high demand career. All right. But these other ones, like a nurse practitioner, is even higher demand. And they actually all typically had like good like job satisfaction. Like they always tended to feel like their jobs mattered and made a difference. So they actually ranked pretty darn high there. And again, if you get into a nurse anesthetist, you're in a very high paying job as well as a nurse practitioner. So it's kind of the conglomeration. Now you make sure you like working with people. Make sure it's going to be more physical, hands-on type of job. So if you don't really want to do hands-on type of job, it's not going to be the career for you.
It takes some strength.
It really does. And, you got to be willing to deal with people who are in pain and are dealing with stuff. So, like that medical side of things with all the stuff that comes with it, blood and all the other bodily fluids, because you will be dealing with that. But absolutely, this is a great career, by the way. If all that stuff sounds great to you, this is an awesome career because it has good job growth. It's going to be paying well, and it has high job satisfaction. So that's why it's our number 2. All right.
Just make sure that your level of debt aligns with the level of job you're going to. So if you're going to be a nurse, there's a level of debt that's acceptable there. It's going to be different than that a nurse practitioner could take on.
Absolutely. Great point, Jill. You absolutely, like everything else, you want to match your debt to kind of the career you're going to get to. So.
And we talk about that in our course at h4rl.com. We talk about how do you figure out the level of debt that's acceptable for the career you're going into.
Absolutely. That's a very good point. All right. Coming in at number 1.
Top job.
Is computer science. It's a number 1 major. And it's actually a subset of engineering. We really want to pull this out because really it just jumped out. It really did. It's kind of just everything we started looking at.
Computer science is everywhere. It's no surprise today.
Absolutely
computers and computerized things are everywhere.
Yeah, so it was high demand. I mean, you got into software developer, CEO, Java developer, AI engineer, data scientist, cybersecurity specialist, computers and information systems managers were all very high demand jobs. All were paying good money, and I think some of them didn't actually rate super high. Maybe the CEO rated high as far as like job satisfaction goes. But again,
a couple of them were on that list.
We have to go back and take a look. But definitely,
because a lot of times the people in this field, they really enjoy those challenges and find it very satisfying when they're able to solve a problem or create something that does what they were working toward.
Now, I do want to say this, that not all of them are like super high-ended. Like they're not in the top high 6-figure jobs. That's not what these are. But you can have a very good job. You can have good job growth. You can be in demand, so you have the ability to move around quite a bit. And actually, quite honestly, a lot of these jobs, if you want that flexibility to be able to work from home more or remotely, these type of jobs absolutely provide that more than, say, obviously a nurse. You got to be on site to do that. So you can't really do remote work as a nurse too easily. So this is a great job. If that's part of your work values, is that you want some job flexibility in where you work and how you work. This is a good option for you.
There are some telehealth visits now, but that's primarily not what you were doing.
Now remember, this all are bachelor's degrees. It doesn't hurt to go on to get further education in some of these fields to kind of move up a little bit in that area. You can get some entry level, you can get some experience as far as like some of these boot camps and stuff, but you gotta be very careful which ones you choose as far as the boot camps go. I'd really recommend going on and getting the actual bachelor's degree because I think that'll help give you more job security in the long run. Now,
allow you to move up
please
eventually.
Please realize, not all jobs are going to be like the super high-end tech jobs. Only very few people get to go work for the big tech companies because it's very selective. But you can work for other smaller companies and still do what you love and get paid good money. So that's our
number 1 career, our number 1 major.
Those are our top 5 careers.
Majors,
my bad. Top 5 majors. Please, if you want to hear the other ones, and there were a lot of other ones we talked about, go listen to our other podcasts. And just as a quick little thing, in case, I know we're talking about majors, so you're probably interested in going to college, but if all of a sudden college is not really what you're interested in, or you know someone who isn't really wanting to do college, a very high demand or in-demand job with good job satisfaction that doesn't require a college degree is firefighting. Specifically, wasn't like wildfire inspector or something like that?
Well, the firefighter and EMT was a really good job that we talked about.
Yes.
But that's another possibility that you could move into as a forest fire inspector.
Yeah, so that's a great job growth.
It's kind of an up-and-coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's actually one that you could go into. Again, it doesn't require like a college degree. And especially if you like teamwork, by the way, you want a very physical job, you want that camaraderie and really feel like you're making a difference, this could be a great career path for you.
Yeah. It is, though, I will say, we have a friend who's a firefighter, and I think he would say that if you want to be able to advance in your career, maybe become a lieutenant, an officer at your station, then the college degree is beneficial.
All right. So another thing out there. So if you are on YouTube or even listen to this on any one of our podcast stations, please go to h4rl.com and contact us and send us a little like blurb of something you would like for us to cover. We would love to hear what you guys want to hear about as far as different types of majors or careers or any kind of career exploration topic. We will do a podcast on that. So please reach out and talk to us and let us know.
Yeah, they can just go to the contact page at h4rl.com.
Shoot us a little contact and say, hey, I wouldn't mind a podcast that talks about this. And we will absolutely try to do podcasts for that. Now, we are thinking about some of these other podcasts coming up, doing ones about careers that make big impacts. We're actually really talking about more of the big problems out there and what kind of careers are going to solve those problems.
There are problems in the world?
There's a couple, not too many. But anyway, so we're going to try to do it that way because we actually have found, by the way, that a lot of you guys are out there are very interested in impactful careers. Jobs that are very satisfying and jobs that people really enjoy doing.
Which is awesome.
And there are lots of problems out there, but there are actually a lot of really cool and interesting careers that are actually tackling those problems. So we kind of wanted to highlight some of those for you guys.
And save the world.
Absolutely. So with that being said, thanks for listening. And again, please hit subscribe. Please give us 5 stars. Please hit the bell or whatever it is that you can do to promote this. Even tell a friend about it. That'd be great. We appreciate that. So until next time, I'm Dave.
And Jill, thanks so much.